See, I'm not going to be able to type quick enough for this. So if you don't mind.
Yeah, so in the ancient days, so I think it's a Xhosa legend, it's certainly an African legend. The land god was trying to create land, and whenever he did, the sea god just created this huge dragon who just drowned the land. So the land god's mother created 3 giants who, the next time land was created, they fought with the dragons and destroyed them, and so land was created. But then there was a problem. There were these 3 giants who were created to fight, who were now in existence on the land, so they turned them into mountains. And Table Mountain is the Watcher of the South. Yeah.
And they created Table Mountain.
Yeah, so this
and
was
that's the only one, or any of the other
then there
mountains?
must be others. I'm trying to remember where I read it, because I suspect then Kilimanjaro might be the Watcher of the East, and I don't know what the Watcher of the West
so it's a
would be.
global thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is like what I've read, and so because then there's a Portuguese legend about Adamastor, and they had, so the Portuguese were always trying to round the Cape, and so they had that the mountain was this sort of god that would always create the seas and fight them up.
Storm of good
hope.
Yeah.
So there's always been these legends about the mountain as just being so much part of the earth. I suppose in one it was protective, and in the other one it was destructive. But just I'm trying to remember what other legends. I know there's a couple like that around the mountain, and I don't know if they would be a good place to start. Just
it's all that all falls under the history side, which is there's I think it's quite a rich area to tap into, because a lot of people know about the history of Table Mountain, and some of the older stories, and you say things like there's tunnels in Table Mountain, people go, what?
And there's also I've heard from a couple of places, but I don't know much about it, that it's one of the few places on earth it has very special vibrations or something. I took a lady up the mountain who'd come here specially, and then someone else has mentioned it to me subsequently. So I don't know where you would find, because it's nothing I know about, but now I've heard it from 2 different sources, that it's a very special place to people who feel vibrations and things, because you've got the mountain and the sea next to each other, and the one girl explained it to me, and it was it's a very positive place on earth, or something like that. It's
cool.
got. Yeah.
I like that. Because that's something current, and it's a slightly different thing.
If you could find something online, because I know, but I don't know where you would, because, or in books or anything, but there's something spiritual. I think that would be the word. It's a very spiritual place. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. I like that. Okay. And then in terms of, while we're on that, and people foraging on the mountain and all of that, from your experience on the mountain, have you seen people foraging? Do you do it yourself?
No.
Not.
In Cecilia Forest, you do sometimes see the people who've taken the muti, the bark from the trees.
Because you see them stripping the bark. And
but that's,
mushrooms and
I've seen I have seen people taking mushrooms. But nothing. I mean, that's generally the Europeans, It's
really?
Yeah. It's so I haven't seen anyone.
So that's one area we're looking at, but it seems like it's slowly but surely dying off quite a lot.
I know that Luke Dale, the test kitchen man, he was looking into how to cook with. He just I think from his.
He was looking into it.
Because I took him on the mountain. I took him on a hike, and he was very interested in how he could use, I think, plants up there into his test kitchen and stuff. But I do know that the floor on the mountain isn't very rich in nutrients, because it's all sand. The soil's all sandy, so there isn't that much that's going to be hugely nutritious.
Yeah.
But there's certainly some. Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
But I know nothing about it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's definitely worth speaking to him to see if he does.
I think if anyone would know, he would, because I know he was reading up on it.
Okay.
At one stage. Yeah.
That's quite interesting. And then from your time on the mountain, on a very personal level, why is the mountain special for you?
I think because it has, in such a small area, so many different ecosystems and aspects, and in the middle of the city you can just escape the crowd so quickly, and it's got hidden springs and beautiful caves, as you mentioned, and even the wildlife. I saw Klipspringer just last week up on the mountain.
Really?
Yeah, you can't believe it.
Because that was going to be one of my questions, is what wildlife have you seen recently?
So I've seen Klipspringer and tar recently, and obviously Dassies
and the
Mongoose.
tar, you've seen the tar?
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just before Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah. They hang around on Devil's Peak and Platterclip, that more area.
Okay.
And the Klipspringer are more on the back of the mountain.
Okay. Closer to the dam side of it.
I think, yeah. And more the Llandudno side, where it's quieter, they're much shyer, whereas I think the Tars aren't. And last year I saw caracal about 3 times.
Really?
Yeah. But I think they were displaced by the fire the previous year. They're probably from Constantiaberg. Yeah. So they maybe didn't have territory, because it's very unusual to see them in the day, but a lot of the guides did.
Okay.
And around the cable car in places.
Exactly. A friend of mine actually got a photo of it on one of the big paths, and was just walking in front of them with their backs.
So I'm sure it's like it's only been this past year or so. So I'm sure there's been some issue with coming off the Constantiaberg.
And what is your take on the fires? Good, bad?
They're definitely, I mean, the fires are part of nature, there's no doubt about that. The proteus just wouldn't survive without it. But the cycle should be every 12 to 15 years, and there's no way. There's too many. And also, I think with the alien, like, there was actually a fire just before Christmas on the McClears Beacon part of the mountain.
Yes.
But it just kind of flares up and dies down.
Yeah.
And there's another section that I pass regularly that burnt towards the end of last summer. But again, it's like about as big as this room. It's a small section.
Close to McClears Beacon again?
No, that's I don't know if you know Valley of the Red Gods. It's towards Casteelspoort.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think that's how it's supposed to be, a small little fire that flares up and dies down. I don't think these big fires are. Yeah. And I heard on the radio, they say a lot of them, they suspect they are caused by man, but not necessarily maliciously.
Okay, I see.
They said, like train wheels make a spark. Obviously cigarette ends, Bergie's fires, So
Okay. Then, what have you seen or experienced on the mountain that's been very interesting and special for you?
Mainly seeing the caracal.
Okay.
It's always special. And just each day, I mean, sometimes especially in the winter, when you have that mist in the city bowl, and you just go a Platterclip and you get above the cloud and you're looking down, and that's amazing. And sometimes you get a kind of rainbow in the clouds. So and always actually the clouds. I think it's sometimes when they come in along the 12 Apostles and you can see a cold front coming in, So I'd just say the changing weather.
Yeah. Again, it ties into
the occasional exciting wildlife, but generally, it's more just the changing weather and we were once up the mountain, my husband and I, with the dogs, and we weren't very prepared. And we looked behind us and we saw this black cloud coming in, so we rushed and hid in a cave, and it pissed with rain, and then the sun came out and we carried on.
Way.
Things like that.
Classic.
Yeah, it's so changeable.
Then, when walking around the mountain and with the amount of time you spend on the mountain, who else do you see use the mountain from a day-to-day basis?
There's a lot of clubs, especially quite old people. There's one club I see, I think you have to be over 70 to be a member of the club. There's something to do with UCT.
To walk up the mountain?
Yeah, and they're these old dudes. They wear shorts in the middle of winter with these skinny legs and elephant hide skin. And they walk in all conditions. They're really, really fun.
It's like a mountain hiking club.
Yeah, I think they go up every Wednesday or every Thursday.
Classic.
That particular club.
Over 70s.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's classic. I love that.
And but otherwise, I mean, there's lots of people I see the whole time, either running, walking dogs. There's definitely a core of people who I think regularly climb the mountain.
So we've got the hiking club, people generally walking, mountain bikers in the lower areas, and on the more the Tokai side, there's dedicated paths. Yeah. Obviously, your paragliders.
You don't see too many of them on the mountain.
No,
they're
not
mainly
on the top
just
side.
Lions Head.
On the Lions Head,
yeah. There was one there the other day, but I think they have to have special permits and things.
Oh, really?
That I'm not sure of, because I know when that guy with the squirrel suit jumped off, he was in trouble because he didn't have proper permits or something.
Well, it's illegal. They're not allowed to anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But they're allowed to. Yeah. Okay.
So paragliding is, but not the wingsuit or base jumping.
Oh, in fact, paragliding, they probably just have to have an activity card.
Could be.
I think it's one of the
and
things
there's a
on the
dedicated
activity
area
card.
for it,
Yeah.
Okay. So, have you seen any? So trail runners, obviously. but I've seen some people commuting who basically walk Hout Bay to Constantia side across that one area. I
on
don't
the
know
lower
the names.
slopes, through Orange Cliff.
Through the Orange Cliff side,
really?
they actually cross over there, and there's actually quite a well-defined path because they actually
Because I don't think
walk
they're
across.
because Orange Cliff is restricted.
It is, but
So
they skip over, and it's such a quick walk over that they don't.
Oh right.
So I've seen that. But is there anything else that comes to mind in terms of usage? Or people that use so we're trying to do research to see who uses this mountain on a day-to-day basis. There's the foragers, there's the exports, recreational.
Yeah, I'd say mainly recreational dog walkers.
And tourists, yeah.
Hikers, tourists. As I say, not really foragers. Just it's quite small. Just in the winter, obviously, in the forested areas, the mushrooms. I haven't seen anyone collecting berries or anything.
Okay.
And obviously not killing animals because that would be highly illegal. Yeah.
And then for
and obviously the water authorities, you see them up there a lot. Yeah.
Definitely, I probably see them the most up there in the conference centre. So tell me, for people in Cape Town, in your opinion, so people in Cape Town living in the bottom, in the Bowl, Constantia, Camps Bay, it doesn't matter really, but in the bottom of the mountain. As a greater power, what do you think the mountain, or what do you think the city would be like if the mountain wasn't there?
It wouldn't be Cape Town. Because I always say because it's actually a huge city, isn't it? It's about 5 million people or something. But people always comment, the foreigners always comment how friendly Cape Townians are. And I've just made this up, but that it's because we're so. Each suburb is like a separate little town, really, like Camps Bay, and Hout Bay, and so that's what creates. Because apparently we are very friendly.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We feel friendly.
Yeah. No, people comment on it the whole time that everyone's so proud of their city and is friendly, and
because the mountain's
it's a
pretty
big
much
thing.
in the middle.
I think the mountain creates a lot of that. Yeah.
Okay. And apart from that, how else do you think the city would change?
It would just be boring. It wouldn't be a special place. It wouldn't. And seriously, I think it wouldn't have all the rain. It would be much drier.
Like the West
I
Coast?
think it. Yeah. I think I've read somewhere that if we'd be almost a desert without the mountains.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing the tours, or how long have you been walking up the mountain?
Been walking up the mountain. So I'm from the UK originally.
Okay.
And I got here in 1991.
Okay.
And the first thing I did was try and find someone I didn't want to go up in the cable car. And I couldn't find anyone who knew the way up. And eventually I found someone who knew.
Oh, classic.
Yeah. So really, and then in about 1998 or 1999, my husband and I took a 3-month sabbatical, and then we walked the mountain flat.
Okay.
And I've been now hiking guiding since 2009.
Okay.
Yeah.
7 years. 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
And for you, how has the mountain changed since your first walk?
The big thing is on this side. So all the forestry. Constantia Neck used to be all forest. Cecilia Forest is obviously all gone as well.
And farmlands.
Yeah. And the cable car's changed.
So what is it now?
So now it's going back to Fynbos.
Okay.
So it was all commercial forestry. It was all very nice shady pines. And obviously the cable car's changed, and that whole area at the top's much enlarged and developed. But the mountain hasn't changed. The mountain itself hasn't changed that much, really. I wouldn't say.
Even on the weather side of things.
I mean, there's definitely wetter years and drier years, but I wouldn't have said the dams are quite full at the moment. I think they're not letting water out, probably in cases of fire, but it's not noticeable. You wouldn't notice it was drier up there.
No, it does. When we walked in December, and it was at capacity pretty much.
Yeah,
which is quite interesting
it's
during a drought.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Any other interesting stories that you tell your clients that you think might be quite interesting?
The Devil's Peak one that everyone knows. The Devil's Peak legend, and Van Hunks, who sold to the devil. Okay, so Devil's Peak is called Devil's Peak because there was an old Dutchman whose wife wouldn't let him smoke his pipe in the house. So he used to go up on the mountain to smoke his pipe. And another old man came along and they started to have a bit of a fight about who could smoke the most. And so they puffed and puffed and puffed and puffed right through the night. And in the morning when they looked up, when the people of Cape Town looked up, Devil's Peak was shrouded in smoke. And when the smoke disappeared, both old men had gone. And now there's actually two versions of the story. So I tell people that then they realised that the old man had lost his soul to the devil. And so now, when the southeast starts to blow, it's obviously just a puff of cloud around Devil's Peak. Yeah. So he says Van Hunk's trying to will his soul back from the devil. But now I read the other day another version of the story where Van Hunk's actually ends up falling down the hill or something. But anyway, it's all about the devil and Van Hunk's having a smoking competition. In one of the versions, he disappears, and in the other, I think he manages to get away.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Any other ones?
Not that I can think of. No.
And the tunnels, have you ever been in the tunnels?
I've been under the city from the mountain.
Yes.
And I've been
Camisa
into
tunnels.
Yeah. So I've done that, which is another very good story that I tell my clients about Camisa, and then so I've been into the Grootkop caves and Tranquility Crags and those sort of places.
Okay.
And a little bit into the Wynberg caves, but not in the big. I haven't really been. What's it called? Speleologicaling, which is proper caving or something. Yeah. So I haven't done anything really. I haven't done really anything.
And the tunnels themselves, the tunnels that are dug through.
Oh, you mean? Oh, sorry. Yeah. The Woodhead Tunnel. The Woodhead Tunnel. Yes, I have been in there.
And the newer one.
Yeah.
There's the older one
and the 12 Apostles Tunnel.
That's it. Yeah.
So the Woodhead Tunnel at Orange Kloof, you can climb in there, and I have climbed in there, but it's so spooky. Yeah. Because even for a small person like me, it's just.
Yeah, we did in December.
On my head, did you?
I went all the way to the end.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a bit spooky. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, and you're a big guy. I mean, you must have been.
Yeah, no, you walk like this all the way.
And then it's bricked up at the other end, hey?
It's just a steel gate. It's rusted, so you could probably even force that open if you really wanted to. But then there's a bit of a drop because the steps on the other side have rusted away.
Yeah, I mean that's where it clearly says danger.
Yeah, exactly. Which I've hiked up that side as well. And then we went.
How long did it take? Because it's not that far, is it? The tunnel.
It's not that far. It's just tighter. I would say total duration about 2 hours.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Just because you're slow.
Yeah, and also we spend a bit of time at the end and.
Okay.
Just taking our time. You can probably do it a bit faster, but we didn't need to.
And then the 12 Apostles, I don't think you can get into, can you? Because
it was open.
Oh really?
Yeah.
And did you go in and down the steps?
It really it's such a weird mirage.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Something about that tunnel when the wind blows, but really blows hard.
Yeah.
When we first went there it was about 9 years ago, so with Peter.
Yeah.
Southeast was blowing extremely strongly. So what was happening is the tunnel had, in the entrance of the tunnel, it was like a total vacuum, not like a vacuum, but a siphon. I got a photograph of Binny, where when you climb in and out, it's very difficult to get in over the ledge. But when Binny was climbing out, she was climbing out forwards. And she climbed out forwards and she got to balancing on her legs here.
And the wind was holding me up.
just holding up, and she actually just stood there and flew.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
No ways.
Yeah.
Something else.
And I've been there, when I was there last week Thursday, it was the same. As you stick your head in, it's just this wind. It wouldn't have held you up, but I mean, it was stunning how strong it is.
It's crazy.
I just think it's so amazing when you go there and you just like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's just like, one other thing is from that place up towards the wall of the dam.
Yes.
There's an old wooden tree. Is it still there? Dead old wooden tree.
I don't remember it specifically.
Upright or fallen down?
There's many beautiful trees there.
No, but there was an old, just a, you know, like when you used to go up Cecilia, up the Jeep track.
Yeah.
The cement road in the corner used to be an old tree that's on the corner there, and now it's gone.
Okay.
But there's an old tree just going up in there. There's just such a nice picture coming from the bottom. It's not. I don't
recall it specifically, but they wouldn't have moved it. I don't think.
Not blown down. I got a photograph of it somewhere. I took a photograph of it years ago. It's still there.
I'm not sure. I can't.
Got a lot of old vegetation
there.
Yeah. It's really, really nice. Yeah,
but still
thanks for that. So the 12 Apostles Tunnel is quite a mind puzzle because it's just stairs that go pretty much at this angle, and unlike the Woodhead, which has got a pipe through it, the entire 12 Apostles is the pipe.
Oh, right.
So the stairs, you're walking in the middle of the pipe, so when they force water down there, the entire tunnel is the funnel for the water in essence. And it's a bit weird.
That would be even spookier.
No, exactly. Climb up there again because it's hectic. Small steps for very long. Anyway, so what else? I'm just trying to think. What else? Any other stories?
There's so much. Photography was invented, but they've got ladies in their skirts and everything with big boots on, and a rope loosely tied around their waist, sort of hanging off India fence-through places, waving at the. So the history. I mean, going certainly. I mean, okay. So this is again just the European history, but it's they've got there's some amazing old photos
in the hiking club
of those about 100 years old.
Because there's two hiking clubs. I've seen the houses for two.
Yeah, so there's a few houses. So in the bad old days. So where the main bunch of houses are, there you've got the mountain club, the scouts. There's what they call the people's
Scouts,
hut.
that's right.
But there is another one down a much prettier valley called the Ash Valley, which is between Nursery Ravine and Constantia Neck. And that was the old. So there was the South African Mountain Club, Mountain Club of South Africa, and then there was the Cape, which was for the coloured people. And I don't know if it was coloured and black or just coloured, and they had their own one hidden out of the way, and it's actually a much nicer little hut. So now they have officially amalgamated. But I don't think anybody really uses the one in the Ash Valley anymore.
In the Ash Valley, that's interesting.
Much nicer, yeah.
Okay, I'll look that up. That's quite an interesting one. So if I asked you...
Actually a very interesting person to speak to would be Ed February.
Ed February.
Because he's a coloured guy who in probably the 80s was climbing with all the whiteys. I think the whole climbing community was a bit renegade, and he's quite a legend. And he's still around, yeah.
How would I get a hold of him?
I'm sure if you Google
him.
Probably the Mountain Club. He's a lecturer at UCT.
Oh, so you see, that's the link I was looking for.
Yeah, I think he's a lecturer. I think on flowers and things. I'm not sure. So but because he could also. When I first came here, I was asking everyone, because as I said, I only got here in '91, and I wanted to know were black and coloured people allowed on the mountain? What was the story? And nobody knew, because all my friends were white. So that would be an interesting story. The access rights. I still don't know if they were only allowed up certain paths. It's the most bizarre thought, isn't it? But they were only allowed on certain beaches. Yeah. Maybe they were only allowed up the cuckold paths or something,
Or to do the work.
Yeah, exactly.
So talking about people that are interesting to talk to, is there anyone else you can think of that is worth a chat?
There's a guy who wrote. Have you seen the book? This guy knows a lot. Tony Lawrence,
okay.
Because he put this book together, and it's got lots of little stories and interesting information, and some of the old pictures.
Cool.
And so he must have done a lot of research.
I was going to ask you if you know, because there's so many books out there, but they all rehash the same stuff. Like which are the ones that are worth it?
He a lot of the routes are climbing routes, so it's not suitable for everyone. But I think it's a little bit, Mike Lundy's is maybe a bit. I went through Mike Lundy's when I first got here, so there's nothing wrong with it, but it's maybe a bit of the more basic hikes, whereas his is really
more the unexplored territories. Oh, that's very cool.
And it's also, I think, the most recent, though there's that other lady whose books I haven't looked at, who writes them as well.
Okay.
But I don't know her, but we follow some of the routes on this, the more complicated ones.
And take a photo of that now. And then apart from that, anyone else you can think of?
Can you think of anyone there?
What about you?
Yeah, other hiking guides, but.
Do you know, have you heard any stories, like I've heard of this, I need to go back to that source and see who it was, but when this first came up, one of the examples he used was an old man that's been climbing the mountain every day of his life.
Oh, there's a couple of them, yes.
Really?
Yeah, there's, there's a flower book, but I put mine in the washing machine, so I don't have it.
Okay.
The mad old bugger.
Mad old man. It sounds perfect as a character.
Yeah, he is. He does not stop talking.
Really.
I'm gonna look up his book here. What's it called? Flowers.
His wife kicks me out the house into the mountain, but I think he's so buggered up now. He's stuck.
I haven't seen him for a while. I think he might have. I know at one stage I saw him and he'd fallen, and he said he was lying unconscious on the mountain for quite a while. But it's just like.
But you don't want to knock into him because he won't move then. He'll be stalking you for the rest of the
Yeah, he just does not stop talking. And he's a complete. He has his little notebook with him, and he'll how long it takes him to do a certain hike, how many plants he sees. He's obviously completely. What's it called? Compulsive.
Yeah. Compulsive.
You know what I mean? It's not ADHD, but they often seem to go together.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Compulsive disorder.
Yeah. Excessive compulsive.
Yeah, that's it. It's a book. It's only a couple of $100 because it's aimed at, and it's brilliant because it's color coded. So you look up the color of the flower, and then you can.
Cool.
It's for people who are not very intelligent or not intelligent. Experienced at looking at flowers, so I learned a lot from it.
Okay. That's quite cool.
Hugh someone. But I know like they've got it at Kirstenbosch and they've got it on top of the mountain. Hugh Clark and Bruce Mackenzie.
Hugh Clark and Bruce.
I can't remember if it's Hugh or Bruce that we talked to, because one of them was the photographer and one's the wild old man.
Okay. So I'll just look for the not photographer. And
that's what it looks like. And then inside there it tells you which one is the mad one and which is the...
Common wildflowers of Table Mountain with a big red flower. Okay, cool.
That's the Dizer. Big red flower. That's the Dizer, which is out at the moment.
That's right, actually.
Yeah.
And then anyone else you can think of?
Then there's another old guy who goes up India Fenster about once or twice a week as well.
Okay.
But I don't even know his name. I always chat to him. And there's a guy who goes up India Fencer with only one. Well, he's got one withered arm, so it's quite impressive to see him all the time. There's a lot of actually characters on the mountain.
So again,
I was feeling sorry for myself because I couldn't walk because I had a frozen shoulder, and saw this going up with one hand. I was
oh, classic.
Yeah. So there is actually now a lot of people like that you see on the mountain.
So we're looking for characters to tell the story. So we haven't.
Have you spoken to the main man in the mountain club? He's ever such a nice chap.
Well, we literally are my second interview. So beyond our internet research, now we're delving into people. So and then we'll determine who our characters are.
So I'm sure the mountain club will know. I think it's Hugh Mackenzie as the mad old man.
Okay.
And the main guy of the mountain club is also a really nice guy who would be a fountain of knowledge, because I see him walking a lot as well.
Okay.
But I can't remember his name. I know so many people to look at, but.
And the Cape Town Mountain Club.
Yeah. It's the South African Mountain Club, but I think the Cape Town chapter.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's this. Okay.
Yeah. He's
so I'll find that out. I've got someone that's in that club, so I'll be able
he
to
must
work
know.
it out.
And
okay.
And then.
And through the years, any other characters? Like any characters?
There was another mad old man, but I haven't seen him for a long time, called Rob.
Okay.
And he used to walk every day up from. I think he used to walk right through Bishop's Court. He must have lived somewhere near here.
Okay.
But he had this story. He said that he was a soldier in the South African Army, and he'd got some poison into his blood or something, and he had to keep walking to metabolize the poison.
Oh wow!
And get it out.
And that's
so I think he was mad. I think it was a story.
Probably affected him somehow.
Yeah.
If it was true.
But he was very nice, also very chatty.
Okay.
And I say he's someone whose I actually got to know on name terms, because it's on the back of the mountain where I walk the dogs as well. So.
Okay.
But I haven't seen him for a while, and he was quite doddery, so.
Okay. Anyone else? I'm just trying to think like who else could be characters. So even if you don't know who they are, just helping me decide, like think of who could be characters. Like if there's someone that's been jumping the mountain on paragliding for years, or there's a water expert, or
do you know
wildlife or fauna, flora.
What's Brian and Moose's company called?
Fresh Air.
Do you know the Fresh Air
Well,
crew?
I don't know, but they're still Fresh Air.
Well, Moose they are sort of adventure filmmakers.
Okay.
And I know they've base jumped and done all that sort of stuff. Brian Valentine and Moose. What's Moose's name?
Moose.
Ed February knows them anyway. If you get hold of Ed.
E.T.? No.
Yeah, Nick
Good.
Nick Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nick Good.
So they're adventure photographers who've done a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I think they were actually filming the idiot who jumped off in his squirrel suit.
The one that hit his legs.
Yeah. So they certainly will know all the adventures that have gone on.
Okay.
And Brian's a big climber.
So he's definitely
the Fresh
worth a
Air.
chat. Okay.
I think they're not. I think Peter's right. I think they don't. I think they've moved. They don't work together anymore. But certainly at one stage they were doing a lot of adventure.
Cool. So I'll definitely tap into that.
Mm.
And then any conservationists that you know that's been there for years? Not really.
No, I mean, because obviously the national parks has just changed their boss. Yeah, and I don't really know. Yeah, don't know anyone. He's I think probably the mountain club are the most active in.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Then there was one other one I wanted to ask after that. It was contacts. Damn it. Can't remember. Totally bizarre. Cool. Let me stop this quickly.